Hey class, so this week we were required to read Rachel's chapters 3 through 5 and then another essay. Um, so I'll go into the essay first. So it's about leadership as a practice, LAP. It's a leadership approach that emphasizes the creation of embodied leadership practices in an organization. LAP challenges traditional leadership models that portray leadership as the possession of specific traits or qualities by certain individuals. Instead, LAP asserts that leadership is more of a social phenomenon that is enacted by individuals and groups in a particular organization within its context. So, in this essay, the author argues that LAP's theoretical and philosophical foundations are best aligned with a genealogist version of moral inquiry. Um, the moral philosophy focuses on understanding the historical and cultural contexts that shape our moral beliefs and practices. This perspective resonates with LAP's emphasis on the co creation of embodied leadership, which practice in specific contexts. Um, so, to expand, the author further argues that LAP and its assumptions and implications place it on the opposition to a traditionalist on moral philosophies. Traditionalist moral philosophy emphasizes the importance of universal moral principles and rules, while an encyclopedias of moral philosophy emphasizes the acquisition of knowledge and expertise in moral reasoning. LAP challenges both of these perspectives by suggesting that effective leadership emerges from the co creation of embodied practices that are context specific and may not be universal or objective. So basically, it's saying um, that leaders emerge in very strange ways sometimes, and it can depend on the context that in which they're working with. So the authors also caution applying LAP without an appreciation for diverse moral viewpoints. So you need to be open-minded. And they suggest that leaders must be aware of competing moral perspectives to avoid corrosion within the organization. Moral practices that force others to conform to their own moral beliefs can cause tension. However, the author also argues that LAP may also have long-term benefits for organizations by strengthening member cognitivity and emotionally. So just the bond with your employees and the people within your organization. So LAP also encourages individuals to reflect on their leadership practices and collaborate with others to create new practices. This process may enhance members' emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and decision-making skills, and ultimately leading to a better organizational culture. Um, so, to wrap it up about the essay, it offers an integration of LAP in the context of MacIntyre's three rival versions of moral inquiry. The authors suggest that LAP's theoretical and philosophical foundations are best aligned with a genealogist's version of moral inquiry. So chapters 3, 4, and 5 of the elements of moral philosophy. So I'll just give a quick little rundown. So chapter 3, Rachel's explores cultural relativism, which is the idea that moral beliefs and practices are relative to one culture's society. He argues that this view is problematic because it implies that we cannot criticize the moral practices of other cultures, even if they are harmful or oppressive, which I agree with. I believe that criticism isn't something that should be, just put aside just because it might hurt someone's feelings. If they're doing something bad, they're doing something wrong, they're hurting other people, I believe that we should be able to criticize them. Chapter 4 introduces ethical egoism, and that's the theory that individuals should act in their own self-interest. Rachel's argues that this theory is flawed because it overlooks the fact that individuals often have a moral obligation to help others, like their family and other things like that, and that selfishness can be detrimental in the long term for people's happiness. And then finally, so chapter 5, Rachel explores utilitarianism, which is the theory that actions should be evaluated based on their ability to promote the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. He explains that this is appealing because it is impartial and it takes into account the interests of everyone affected by action. However, Rachels also identifies several objections to utilitarianism, including the difficulty of calculating the overall happiness of an action and the concern that it may overlook the rights of an individual. Overall, Rachel's exploration of these ethical theories and concepts highlights the complexity of moral philosophy in general. And I think that we should encourage the people that read this textbook to think critically about their own moral belief and practices and best apply these three theories in their own regard, in their own context. Thank you for watching my discussion.